So the Senate will be back in session today, but it's unlikely that Democrats and Republicans will reach a compromise. State Senator Jessica Ramos of Queens is joining us this morning with how New York is bracing for this fallout. So good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Good to have you here. I think a lot of New Yorkers are nervous right now. I mean, let's take a look at the numbers. I mean, there's an estimated 3 million New Yorkers who receive public assistance. Nearly 1 million get housing vouchers. So is the state prepared to step in if the government continues to not disagree, or not agree, rather?
Well, I'm trusting that Governor Hochul is going to step up over the next few months until the legislature returns to session in January. Because right now, millions of New Yorkers, as you've said, are nervous, are anxious. And frankly, we were already suffering from an affordability crisis, from a food insecurity crisis before the government shutdown. And so that, and all of the federal workers who are now home without a paycheck, this means that our working class communities across New York are the hardest hit. And it should be very concerning to everyone when extremism on both sides has not allowed for government to function and deliver for working people as it should.
What can the state do, though, to make sure they get paid?
Well, if you ask me, I've been carrying a bill called the Recourse Act that I've been pushing for since last session. It would allow New York State to withhold its federal taxes when the federal government unlawfully withholds funding from New York, which we've seen with flood mitigation funding, which we've now seen with infrastructure funding. And so there should be real consequences to taking away benefits from New Yorkers who've paid taxes to get those very same benefits. It's not like they're keeping away entitlements. These are benefits that New Yorkers and Americans have paid for. And I think that's important to mention because it gets lost in this conversation.
Could your bill also support, some major projects here like the 2nd Avenue subway, the Gateway project now impacted by this shutdown, and could potentially get the permanent acts?
Well, it could. So the way the Recourse Act works is that when the Trump administration unlawfully withholds funding from New York would be able to sue, and if a judge finds that it was withheld unlawfully, like it was with the flood mitigation funding, then New York would say, all right, we're going to halt the payments that we make to the federal government. This isn't people's personal income taxes, in order to keep the projects going. So I don't know how much money that would mean in terms of the Gateway project and some of our larger infrastructure projects, but hopefully in the meantime we would be able to keep people working and keep working towards that goal.
Well, while you're here, we also wanted to ask you about what we've witnessed happening down at Federal Plaza. ICE agents, we're witnessing them using excessive force with folks down there. What is being done right now on the state level to prevent this from happening? Is Albany preparing to take any kind of action?
Well, this is a really hard topic, because immigration, of course, is federal law, which the state does not have jurisdiction over. There are some of my colleagues who have introduced bills to try to get ICE agents not to cover their faces with those masks so that there can be some accountability. There are also many different ways that we're trying to take care of the immigrant population, knowing that the deportation of parents just means more children in our foster care system, and actually puts a burden because these are New Yorkers who work. These are New Yorkers who pay taxes. We depend on them. And so between deportation and displacement, what we're seeing, I think, is, New Yorkers being pushed out even more so now out of our own city. And that's where I think the state should step in. The state should, and the city should step in when it comes to keeping housing affordability, making sure that our NYCHA buildings are properly taken care of, and of course addressing our food insecurity and making sure that there's living wage jobs for New Yorkers.
I'll ask you very quickly about the mayor's race. As you have seen, the pool has dwindled. The mayor has now stepped out. Andrew Cuomo, now the lone independent in this race. You did back him in the past. Are you prepared now to give an endorsement again?
Well, I'm a Democrat, and I have said that I am concerned about extremes in both parties. And what I want is real, sensible government, and that's what I support. I think New Yorkers are tired of the same old type of politics. And what we want to see is someone in City Hall who is actually going to pave potholes and pick up garbage and make sure that NYCHA, has functioning boilers this winter. These are kind of the boring, non-ideological things that a mayor is supposed to do and that we want to see.
But are you still endorsing?
Right now, I'm focused on my re-election for next year, and that's what I'm gearing up for.
Okay. State Senator Jessica Ramos, great to have you here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.